Before we get into the video, I just wanted to tell you all that the reason why this video likely didn't come out in March was because I had to deal with some AdSense fuckery, and I ended up losing monetization, which sucks a lot. I was sort of unmotivated to make anything for a couple days because, you know, I worked a long time and dreamed of getting monetized, and I got it, and now it's just gone for the time being. But I'm back now. By the next video, which is going to be a big one, ads should come back because it's going to take a while for that video to come out. But yeah, I just want to let you guys know why I missed 2 videos a month goal. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. For all that's holy, if this somehow blows up and I would have made a lot of money off of it, I think I'm going to kill myself. Engines, the literal beating heart of a car, and probably at least 60% of the reason why car lovers like you and I love cars. I'm not here to say the quiet part out loud, but some engines are cooler than others.
Is this nigga serious?
A lot of those engines are rightfully respected in the car community. You know the ones. But there's a slight issue with being widely respected in the car community. Prices. The common man or woman doesn't have $5 grand to blow on a 721 billion mile LT1 engine, let alone a crate one. Not only that, some engines even get overrated by the community due to their legacy. I'm not going to publicly say on the internet that the 2JZ GTE specifically is overrated. It can withstand an amount of power so foreign to most people that it might as well be equal to like a time machine. But it's not like it's worth time machine money when it's pulled straight out of a 32-year-old car. Except it is. So today, I wanted to talk about some less appreciated but still very cool engines that I believe enthusiasts should love more without spiking the prices of it, please. For fuck's sakes. If you're familiar with engines and engine naming systems, like the little fucking nerd you are, then the name Tau is probably ringing some alarm bells in your little freak nigga brain. It's a Hyundai engine, okay? Look, man, I'll be the first to tell you how much I dislike Hyundai engines. I did a school work program, and in 5 months, I saw more dead engines than I've seen real people in my entire life. A lot of Thetas, as expected, and overall, Hyundai is probably one of my least favorite companies, solely because of the Hyundai accent. I fucking hate that car. However, this engine and its little 4.6 liter brother that I won't be talking about today are no regular Hyundai engines. It's a fucking Korean Coyote. Look, I'm getting ahead of myself. Me immediately telling you that Hyundai made an engine worthy of being compared to the Coyote might be a bit bait-y. Some of you might even be offended, but just bear with me, alright? Just bear with me. I'm going to tell you why this thing even exists and why I'm not even the first person to say that it's a Korean Coyote. So, 2011, Hyundai was making 2 cars. One that you've definitely heard about, and one you've definitely forgotten about if you ever did hear about it. The Genesis Coupe and Genesis Sedan were the springboards for the Genesis brand we know today that, just saying, makes some of the coolest looking cars out there and are making a GTP/hypercar race car that looks insane. However, at the time, the Coupe was the one getting all the attention, and rightfully so. Who gives a fuck about this, like, retarded Mercedes looking thing when you've got a coupe with a V6 in it that makes 300 horsepower for like $9? Well, Hyundai and the Genesis division clearly saw that the 4.6 liter Tau, the biggest engine currently available, wasn't cutting it. So they make it, the 5 liter Tau, for a special model of the Genesis called the R-Spec. It was also dropped into the new Equus, the nameplate for Hyundai's full-size sedans that are solid but nowhere near perfect competitors to the Germans and Lexus. Still solid though, even if the R-Spec is better in like every single way. Maxing out at 429 horsepower and 376 foot-pounds of torque in the first generation and 419 horsepower and 383 foot-pounds of torque in the second generation, the numbers, while impressive, might not seem to be of note. That is until you're told that this was in 2012, was naturally aspirated, and pushed rear-wheel drive vehicles that weighed over 4.5 tons to 0 to 60 times in as little as 4.8 seconds. Additionally, every single person who's ever worked on these engines, including me, as I have indeed gotten to work on exactly one, and by work on, I mean observe and be told by the mechanics that they are very easy to work on. They are quite literally the most American engine at heart ever. Move heavy cars, fuck forced induction, make it simple enough that a 12-year-old could work on it. There is quite literally nothing to complain about. Almost. Yeah, okay, a little bit of that Hyundai hatefulness comes into play. I mean, the engine's a little oil hungry, but if you follow the standard oil change intervals, that's your fault. You should be undercutting those. 7,500 miles is ridiculous. And if that's the only problem with this engine, that following 7,500 mile oil change intervals causes it to burn oil, I'm not complaining. The only other thing wrong with the Tao 5 liter is the community, or I mean rather the lack thereof. If this engine had a proper aftermarket community that would create parts for it, I'd be the world's happiest camper. I'm being dead serious here that I would love for the Tao 5 liter to be a valid engine swap option. And even though it isn't, I still want one just for the noise and the fact that it's piss easy to work on. A Genesis R-Spec is one of the many cars I'd love to make a project car. Like imagine a luxury street sort of track toy drift car or something. Like, it's just such an underrated car with an even more underrated engine that was discontinued in 2021. 10 years of service, serving in other Genesis cars like the G80, the G90, and a fuck-ass Kia that I don't care about. I've glazed the Tao enough. Hopefully now you can see why I think this thing should be talked about more. It's a platform with a shit ton of potential, and judging from this one clip,
I have to hand it to Hyundai. This engine contained the blast really, really well.
I'm guessing if people really put their minds to it, this block without any modification, just the block, could hit like 600 horsepower, maybe 650. Please, car community, let's get the ball rolling for the 5.0 liter Tao. Please, I want to see that happen. I'm pissed that I'm talking about this thing because I actually had one, and now it's gone. To initiate the uninitiated, imagine a 1UZ that lost 2 cylinders in the war. Boom, the 2GR. To be honest with you guys, the biggest applications of the 2GR, specifically the 2GR FE and FSE, kind of make the engine look boring as shit. Like the Avalon, okay. The RAV4 and Highlander, that's cooler, I guess. I miss my Highlander, man. The Venza? The major uses of the 2GR don't really give it the credence of being on this list. That is, until you look a little deeper and find... I'm guessing a majority of you already knew about the fact that this boring ass engine was the power plant for Lotus's best car. Don't at me. I'm not gonna argue with you, you bitch. Unlike the Tao, the 2GR doesn't really have a story. It was just another overbuilt Toyota engine. It doesn't have the prestige of the 1UZ and the fact that the thing could handle, like, I don't know, running in space or something. Nor is it like the 2JZ in the way that it can handle 2,000 horsepower as long as you clean the valve cover once a decade. But what it doesn't have in a story, it makes up for in the fact that they're equally bulletproof to the 1UZ and 2JZ, and they have superchargers. I mean, not stock on pretty much all Toyotas, but they're so easy to install that it might as well be. That automatically makes the 2GR the single best Toyota engine ever. The majority of 2GRs hover at around 270 horsepower from the factory, which is pretty solid for an NA engine. But all you gotta do is get a less restrictive exhaust, some new headers, small tune. You could probably hit like 330 horsepower in your Camry for like $1,500. The higher end 2GRs already hit 300 horsepower out the box, and the Lotus ones go up to 400 horsepower. They even used a bored out 2GR in the ALMS, and they made 470 horsepower with no boost. While this thing is nowhere near as exciting as the Tao, it is the definition of a sleeper. I don't know what the upper power limit would be just with the stock block, but I have to imagine it could take, I don't know, a solid 450, 500, and it would still chug along just fine. A very underrated engine that actually has enough aftermarket support for me to not have to whine about it, which is just another positive in my books. I've done a whole video talking about Saab, and I only mentioned Volvo once, which feels like a sin. When I realized I wanted to make this video, I realized that I finally had an excuse to talk about them and the thing I love most about them. The thing I love most in general, actually, across everything ever in the world. 5 cylinders are the coolest engines, bar none. More than V8s, more than V12s, more than straight 6s, everything. There's no equivalent to a 5-banger. Not even his bigger brother, the V10, although that's a very close second place. Some of the best of these straight 5s came from Volvo, and they made a lot of them. The best Volvo straight 5s that are technically just one engine, but weird story, are the B5 254 T4 2.5 liter and the B5 244 T5 2.4 liter. Yes, the names are fucking awful, so I'll just refer to them as the T4 and T5, which means the 2.5 liter is the T4 and the 2.4 liter is the T5. damn, what the fuck were they thinking? For this segment, I'm gonna just focus on the T5, since it's basically just a better T4. They're basically the same, which is why I said they're the two best engines. It's really just one. The story of the T4 and T5 is shared by a bunch of other Volvo engines, not just other Volvo 5-cylinders, all Volvo engines. They were a part of the Volvo modular engine program, which allowed Volvo to make like 800 gazillion variants around one similarly constructed block. Good idea in thought and in execution, but it makes it really annoying to try and memorize the names because they're all fucking barcode numbers. So regardless, out of the dozens of 5-cylinders Volvo made, why is this the one I chose and not, say, the 2.3 liter 5-banger in the 850R? Well, from what I've read and seen, they are absolute sleeper monsters. I mean, from the factory, 300 horsepower is already a solid amount, but the potential the engine has, man. And I'm making a special distinction here when I say they're sleeper monsters, because both engines I talked about prior to this one are sleepers too. It's well known in the Volvo tuning space that these engines, specifically the T5 due to having stronger internals out the box, can handle 400 horsepower completely stock block and internals. That's an extra 100 horsepower that every part in the entire engine can handle taking without being replaced. You can literally add 100 horsepower with just a tune. You don't need to change anything mechanically. With the other two engines I've talked about, I've said that their blocks could handle an extra 100 to 200 horsepower, but the T5 block, the stock block, can handle as much as 600 horsepower. Double what it came with from the factory. I cannot emphasize how ridiculous that is. You can put 600 horsepower in a Volvo S60R without having to modify the block at all. You can hit 400 horsepower without even unscrewing a bolt. That's insane to me. Additionally, probably the single most important part of an engine, horsepower doesn't matter if the engine doesn't sound good. Ferrari! And I can tell you right now, motherfucker, this engine sounds like heaven. And that's not a blasphemous statement. I really think it's underappreciated how important sound is. I mean, people say all the time that F1 sounds like shit now because there's no V10s. And who can blame them? The cars don't even sound that bad anymore, but when you had sounds like this for half a decade, engine sound is going to be much more of a priority for you. It all ties back to how intertwined aesthetics are to racing and cars in general. Man, I should make that a video, actually. Ooh, that's a good idea. And even though the actual looks of the cars these came in weren't the greatest. Don't kill me, Volvo fanboys. I like Volvo. I'd own a Volvo, you know that. The noise made up for it a million times over. If I could, I'd absolutely swap a T5 into an anything, honestly. Any 4-cylinder car is getting swapped if I have a T5 on standby. I feel like it would match best actually with like a Saab or another sort of underappreciated company like Mazda. That would be cool. Could you imagine? And with that, we've reached the end of my list. Don't worry, there'll be more engines in the future. There's an endless amount of engines I find cool, and even if they aren't underrated or underappreciated, I'll still probably talk about them. An engine like the Barra Straight 6 is something I could talk about for like a straight hour. Coincidentally, it's also very connected to the video coming out next on my channel, so yeah, if you want to watch that video, it'll be coming out later in April, early May at the latest, when I get my monetization back. Not only because I know it'll blow up, but also because it's going to take fucking forever to make. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this more casual video, and I hope you have a good day, night, morning, afternoon, whatever. Just have a good one, man. Have a good one.